Hey, what's up everyone, OJ here, and I think I know why Marvelous Japan sabotaged their own game with Daemon X Machina. There's been a lot of talk about this game, well, not really a lot of talk, but there's been Nintendo content creators that have complained about the policies that Marvelous Japan has implemented with Daemon X Machina on the Nintendo Switch, even with big review sites like GameXplain, for example, stating that they got their own review, that they got a review code given to them claimed by Marvelous Japan, which is essentially saying that Marvelous Japan is saying that people should work for free when it comes to reviewing their game in a fair use sense, which is 100% not right if you look at it from a perspective of people who do this for a living. But outside of that, I'm pretty sure I know why Marvelous Japan has sabotaged the sales of their own game and have just said, you know what, we give up when it comes down to it. Now, this is not making excuses for them, and you know what, they're absolutely dead wrong. This game could have been a lot bigger and a lot more talked about than it is, especially in a packed month for games just in general, but even just for the Nintendo Switch by itself. But let's go over some of the facts here with this, because it wasn't always like this, because I was one of the guys who was hardcore covering Daemon X Machina from the very beginning. So this game was first revealed at the Nintendo Direct back at E3 2018, had an explosive trailer, people were really excited about it, and there was something odd from that very first time, because when I tried to talk about the game individually, the trailer got claimed. Now, luckily for me, Nintendo had Treehouse gameplay footage there, so I was able to capture the gameplay footage and say, okay, I'll just use this instead. And you know what? There was no problem at all. Back in 2018, I'd use the Treehouse gameplay footage and everything would be just fine. You can monetize it, you can talk about it, people are saying, okay, this is cool. This was before the prototype demo, which we'll get into. So all throughout 2018, just as long as you didn't use any official trailers of Daemon X Machina, which Marvelous Japan was claiming, you would be fine. You can use the Treehouse gameplay footage, that would be cool. You could use the Gamescom gameplay footage, that was cool. I did a reaction on the channel and everything. There was no issues whatsoever with any type of live gameplay demonstrations from Nintendo and of the developer playing the game, or the developers playing the game. So everything was fine throughout 2018 and even into early 2019, and that's when things get kind of sketchy, because over that course of the period, everything was good. But Nintendo in early 2019, they released the first prototype missions demo for Daemon X Machina, or Marvelous Japan, whatever you want to say, whoever put it out on there. Nintendo is publishing this game, and that's where things get a bit dicey. That's when people really started crapping on the game because they didn't like the gameplay. Now, just to let you guys know, mech games have always got this. You can go back to the Armored Core series on the Xbox 360. They get not good reviews, and I love the Armored Core games on the 360 and stuff like that. So in the West, mech games have always just never been able to break through, and this is no exception. People had problems with the controls, people had problems with the frame rate, all that stuff like that. And for me, I knew that this was a prototype mission. I knew that this was probably the old E3 build, and they would improve upon it and they would release a better product. Now, when I first played it, I still thought it was very fun, even with its faults, because I realized that they were going to improve on things, but I saw that the core gameplay, the base of what they are doing for a mech action game, was really good. However, that didn't always translate to what everybody was thinking, and a lot of Western content creators, Western game players really started kind of getting on this game, bashing it to heck and back, and not really giving them the benefit of the doubt, because they put this out there so they can get feedback to improve the game, and people just took it as this game was just going to be flat out bad. It's going to be horrible, you know, it's going to be like a 50 on Metacritic or something like that, which I think spooked Marvelous Japan after they saw players pretty much just trash this game so much. And while there was a lot of people that were being encouraging and giving them proper feedback, some people weren't even really taking it that way. They were taking it as this is what the final product is going to be, and they saw a bunch of videos that people made on that, and I think that was the turning point for what was going on, because by the next time people started making content and we started talking about this game, Marvelous Japan started claiming everything with this game. It wasn't just the official trailers that they were claiming. They started claiming gameplay of this. Even the treehouse gameplay from E3, any type of gameplay they would start claiming. We had E3 2019 roll around, right? And there was a bunch of treehouse gameplay there. They started claiming that. They started claiming trailers. Not only did they start auto-claiming things, which what was usually normal was the auto-claims with the trailers and all that, they started manually claiming stuff as well. So people couldn't talk about this game at all. And Marvelous Japan actually even put out a newer demo of the game, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe we're going to be allowed to monetize that. There's not going to be any issue there with that newer demo that can transfer over to the main game. And nope, we can't monetize that either. People who got review codes of the final build can't monetize that either. So essentially what happened here is that Marvelous Japan got so spooked by people complaining and people whining in videos and in comments and all of that. Anybody, at least this is just what I think, anybody that tried to say anything, they just said, you know what, let's just wipe it off. Because guess what? If you can't monetize something, a lot of times people won't talk about it, right? They won't talk about it negatively. I think that they felt that any positive that would have came from people being able to monetize like they let people do before would be outweighed by the negative of what people were saying before the final product was out. But to me, that is a huge mistake. And I think that Marvelous Japan, it's going to come back to bite them in the butt, or is it? Because I don't really think Marvelous Japan cares too much about how the game sells here in the West. I think that they are going to be happy, or they have budgeted this game to make enough money from what they're going to do in Japan. The reviews and the impressions from Japanese players with Daemon X Machina is really good. It's on the top of the eShop charts in terms of, I think, like the top 5. So I honestly think they're just going to be happy with what they did there. There was some news that came out that there was a little bit of a shortage in terms of initial shipment stocks with Daemon X Machina. So what they shipped is selling and they can restock as they see fit. So while people might talk about the sales not being good or them sabotaging things, I think at the end of the day, Marvelous Japan had already kind of cut their ties on what they are doing with the Western audience and this game, despite all of Nintendo's marketing, despite what Nintendo tried to put out there for the game. I honestly think that Marvelous Japan just said, skip it. We don't need it after what happened. But hey, that's just my theory on the matter. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen a developer, especially for a niche franchise like mech action games, in the West sit there and say, nope, don't talk about our game because we're just going to cut off any line of monetization at all, which is crazy because there's so many games coming out. All of us, we have to make sure that we pick our time wisely and what we're going to be doing in terms of the professional field here. And it's just unfortunate. But at the same time, I don't think Marvelous Japan cares, and they're completely fine with sabotaging their own game sales when it comes down to it, especially here in the West. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Let me know what you guys think about my theory here in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future, and subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.